Saturday, December 13th, on Dazn will be a card chock full of opportunities from fighters, both familiar and unfamiliar. And we'll get a chance to see it, where the main event will be Diego Pacheco taking on Kevin Lele Cedro. But this video is not yet about that main event. Of course, we are here to talk about the return to the ring of Joe Cordina, who will also make his U.S. debut when he takes on Gabriel Flores Jr. from the U.S. This is a fight that'll be contested in the lightweight division for 12 rounds, as we're looking at these two gentlemen for the WBO International Lightweight title. Cordina has been on the sidelines for a while, and Flores is making a fight in his backyard with a former world titleist. Will he be able to be up to it is the question. He's 25 years of age, and his present record of 27 wins, 2 losses, and 8 KOs have him primed for a breakout. The 2 losses were against 2 fighters that we're very familiar with. Back in September of 2021, he dropped a unanimous decision to then fighter who was on his way toward a world title, Luis Alberto Lopez. The awkward, unorthodox fighter managed to pretty much shut Flores out. He won a fight after that against Abraham Montoya, but then in 2022, July, he took on Giovanni Cabrera, and in that fight, he lost another unanimous decision. So, having sold his oats, so to speak, and had a string of victories, he's ready to take on a grizzled veteran in Joe Cordina. However, Cordina is someone who has been on the sidelines as well. He's now 34 years of age, and though he has been waiting for an opportunity against a world-class opponent, there are just simply fighters who are not interested in Cordina. He's an orthodox fighter who stands 5'9" with a 69-inch reach from Cardiff, Wales. He's as tough as nails, and he's got 1 loss out of his 19 fights with 9 KOs. Cordina dropped a fight to Anthony Kakachi back in May of 2024, where he lost an 8th round TKO stoppage. Now, going into that fight, he thought he might move up in weight because that was for his IBF and IBO super featherweight titles. He had entertained the thought of moving up, but decided to take that fight on in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. However, this is the thing. There was a bad situation that took place in that fight against Kakachi, where there was a situation where he suffered a headbutt, and then shortly after that, he was downed in the 3rd round. I don't believe that Cordina ever recovered from that and continued to fight. However, he got stopped in the 8th. And Kakachi at the time was not noted as a puncher whatsoever, which I do believe is kind of interesting because of his wiry frame. He never appeared to be the puncher, but has gone on to have some impressive performances outside of his fight against Cordina. So, he had a comeback fight, Cordina did, in July against Jared Gonzalez-Quiroz. Now, in that fight, he won a unanimous decision, and that was for a global WBO lightweight vacant title. So now he's coming to America to try to rectify some circumstances that he had been on the sidelines. He had hoped at one point to fight Shakur Stevenson when he was at super featherweight, and when Shakur was entertaining still at lightweight. However, it wasn't to be. Shakur has now moved up, and as we've heard in the news, he's going to be fighting the likes of Teofimo Lopez at 140 pounds. There is still some things that Cordina could possibly do, and he would be well advised to use his experience in the ring against someone like Flores. That's what he has going best for him. He has already stated, we're here to turn up, F-ish up, and bounce. We'll find out if that's the case or not. You know, as a former two-time IBF 130-pound champion, he's coming into this fight, and I had questioned whether or not Eddie Hearn was trying to get him in a position for quality fights, or what was he doing? So, he just turned 34 years of age, and he's only interested in fighting for a title or challenging in a fight that can get him a world title shot. He said, this is the route that I wanted to go from now on. If a fight takes me off the path of fighting for a world title, then it doesn't interest me. As long as it keeps me on a path to win a world title, I'm happy. Many people were thinking that he was headed toward retirement, but Cordina has argued in that fact that he doesn't want to retire without at least having an opportunity for this. He also stated, he says, 3 fights ago we wanted to move up, and I didn't, and we paid the price for it. We're here now though, and we're prepared to make the big fights. Get this place back to the best fighting the best. It's not happening enough in the division. I would agree with that. And Cordina, regardless of people in the U.S. not giving much credit to him or consideration, I've always valued what he's brought to the fight game, because he's as tough as nails. He can fight, and a lot of times in this particular era, some of the fighters that you're more familiar with aren't really that tough, but they may have had, you know, records that are doctored, where they've been placed in fights where they've always been the 80-20, you know, 70-30 favor. Well, when you get in there against someone the likes of Cordina, he's going to not only test what you bring as far as your skills, he's going to test your fortitude. And I believe that he could still get it done if he's handled properly and moved correctly in the division. There's still dangerous fighters out there, but this is the first step. This young man is 25 years old, Flores, and Cordina is going to have to fight the right fight. He's going to have to be headsy, use his ring experience, and that's what can see him through. Now, the one thing that we can say is that Flores is not a noted puncher, and that's favorable for Cordina, who can crack himself, and we haven't seen him at lightweight yet, so we don't really know if the power and the age will catch up to him. It's kind of a paradox, but it's interesting enough for us to tune in. But what do you think? This is Stormy B-Man. Shout out to the mighty LDBC and Liberated Perspective, a third eye view of the world. For more content such as this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let me know whether or not you think that Joe Cordina still has it or not. Leave comments and let's discuss further. Peace to everyone out there, and everyone please remain safe.